Tonight, Jews all over the world are chanting words from Psalm 97. He'iru v'rakav tevel, ra'ata v'tachel ha'aretz, harim kadonag namasu, milifnei Adonai, milifnei Adon kol ha'aretz. Fire walking before him, flames all around, a lightning bolt flashed like the sun in the night. The earth saw and trembled. The mountains melted like wax before the presence of God. Harim ka donag namasu. The mountains melted like wax. Those ancient words record an unforgettable moment about 3,000 years ago in which a group of mountains, universal symbol of power and stability, became liquid, melting and flowing like candle wax. That image has always struck me as wonderfully evocative, but I've never been able to quite picture the awesome event in nature that the poet was describing. When do mountains melt like wax? In the early dark hours of the morning last Tuesday, the mountains above Montecito melted like wax. In the geologic phenomenon called a debris flow, or what in Japan they call a yama tsunami, a mountain tsunami. While those of us living in Goleta and Santa Barbara slept peacefully in our beds, maybe we got a beep on our iPhone, our friends living in Montecito were awakened by a pounding, earth-shattering, house-crushing river of mud, boulders, trees, cars, heartbreakingly, human bodies, pouring down through the town. Wherever we were that night, our lives will never be the same. During the past several days, members of our community have told me that they cannot get out of their heads the words from our High Holiday liturgy, who by fire, who by water. Others have murmured seriously about the plagues of Egypt. Tonight, I would like to speak of our inner lives, where our minds go, and what happens in our hearts and our bodies in the presence and the aftermath of this devastation. I would like to speak of our need for each other. I would like to speak of our grief, and I would like to speak of hope. Before anything else comes fear. The terror of that night. A mother in this congregation, at home alone, with her 3 children, fighting desperately to reassure them, to save their lives, to control her own rising panic during the most terrible night of her life. Another member of this congregation, pinned by a tree for 4 endless hours, fully expecting to die, as he watched his beloved wife swept away by the mountain tsunami. That was a night of terror. We also face lingering fears about what will happen in the next intense rains. And fears about what all this means for the long-term future of our beloved community, which feels so profoundly vulnerable now, after the fire and the flood. All the confused emotions we feel right now, first comes fear. There is also exhaustion. Families who were evacuated for 2 weeks because of the Thomas Fire, whose neurochemical pathways were flooded by intense emotions of relief and gratitude, Then, just when it felt safe to let down their emotional guard, the people of Montecito have been assaulted physically and emotionally by this catastrophe. It just feels overwhelming. And exhaustion applies to the rest of us also. We all raised our glasses on New Year's Eve, a week and a half ago, bidding good riddance to 2017 and declaring emphatically that 2018 would have to be a much better year. So much for a fresh new beginning. We are all exhausted, and there is so much work to be done. What work exactly? I still remember reading the newspaper reports after the earthquake in Mexico City about how people came pouring out of their homes and apartments immediately after the earth stopped shaking and began digging with whatever tools they had, with their bare hands, in the urgent search for survivors. That is the natural human response to disaster. When we know that human beings nearby are in trouble, and especially our friends and neighbors, we are genetically programmed to rush to help. But we cannot go to Montecito. We have been told repeatedly, in case we did not realize it already, that we would just get in the way. I understand that. I can't handle tools. I think I could handle a shovel. But it's not possible. So what is there for us to do? We know that we can write a check to the food bank or to the Red Cross, Direct Relief International, and we will write checks. But what work is there for us to do? I have a few suggestions. Some of our work in the coming weeks is not physical, but soul work. Friendship. Human connection. Most of us have friends who have been evacuated. Many of their homes have been damaged or destroyed. When we are uprooted from our home, from the physical ground of our lives, precisely then, the intangible, emotional ground becomes even more important. Our relationships, our community of human connection, a simple note, a call, an email, even just a thumbs up or a heart on Facebook to those we know who are displaced. And these have all become part of our new human fabric of connection. Coffee dates, invitations to meals. Most of us will not be repairing the physical infrastructure of Montecito, but we can be enriching, strengthening, deepening the fabric of friendship and love, the fabric of human connection. That is our work this week, this month, this year. Secondly, also in the realm of the Spirit, our work includes resisting the bitterness and finger-pointing that bubbles up after a tragedy. All of us, something within us, wants to find someone to blame. The warning should have come earlier. Why were some evacuations voluntary and not mandatory? Why did people stay and not leave? These are all questions to be addressed in the correct time and place. But our work, yours and mine, now and in the coming weeks, is to resist our baser instincts, including our tendency to assign blame. We need each other now to be gentle with each other, to have compassion. This is our work tonight and in the days and weeks to come. Finally, there will be many opportunities soon and after time passes to join hands and to come together with others in our congregation, but also with the rest of Santa Barbara and Montecito and Summerland and Carpinteria and Ventura. We all need each other. Jew and Catholic, Muslim, Unitarian, Evangelical, Montecitans and Golitans, Carpinterians and Santa Barbarians. I don't know if that's the technical term. That was always my father's term. Not Rob. Barbareños. Carpinterians and Barbareños. To comfort and to strengthen each other. I just learned of a vigil at the courthouse this Sunday at 5 o'clock in memory of those who died. Let's be part of that. On Monday morning, it's the annual Martin Luther King March, starting in De La Guerra Plaza at 10 and then a program in the Arlington. Let's be part of that. On Monday evening, we are holding an action meeting here at CBB at 7 o'clock to put our heads together, to learn and discuss and come up with ideas for how we can act to rebuild our community. Come, be part of that. This is not in my remarks because I didn't know, but I want to welcome Rabbi Gross Schaefer and Lori, and Rabbi Goodman and Lori. We need to come together as a Jewish community in this time. It's about repairing and strengthening the fabric of our human connections to each other. I want to share with you that I have been hearing today from rabbis all over California and the United States asking what they and their congregations can do to help us. Here's what I could think of so far. Just hearing from them that they are thinking about us helps. In this time of sadness, of fear and exhaustion, human connection heals a broken heart. Many centuries ago, after a time of terrible destruction, our ancestors sang a song which we have never forgotten. Psalm 126, traditionally sung after every meal on Shabbat, which includes a beautiful line, Hazorim b'dima, berina yiktsoru. Those who sow in tears shall reap in joy. Simple words and a simple song to heal a broken heart. And Debbie Friedman set those words to music, which the cantor is going to lead us in right now.
Soul sick rose, like a flower in the desert, the oasis of our souls. Come back where we belong. You who hear our longing cries, our mouths, our lips are filled with song. You can see our tear-filled eyes. Those who sow in tears, sow in tears, will reap in joy, will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy, will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy, will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy. We remain